Hyperscape is a new free-to-play battle royale, since there are simply not enough of those on the market to begin with. It attempts to fill that space between all the other battle royales by setting itself apart with a story. When you first start the game greets you with a cutscene that introduces you to the complex storyline of Hyperscape. Except, the storyline is laughable and sad. It's set in a virtual reality game because the world is horrible and everything is polluted and too crowded, so people escape into their computers. Sounds kind of familiar.
To try and save lives, authorities take precaution. They disinfect public areas and screen populations.
This is just crazy.
Like, this is the exact plot of Ready Player One, but also the plotline of that movie and the book aren't very good either, and pretty derivative of other bad science fiction. I mean, at the very least, this game doesn't include schlocky references to all sorts of shitty pieces of pop culture like Ready Player One does, so that's good. But like every battle royale, storyline is totally irrelevant. I'm not sure why they included it all. Instead, the game is based around the gameplay, who would have thought, and how it might set it apart from this already crowded market. It's got all the same stuff as every other battle royale: chests, battle passes, squads, and solos. They all work basically the same. That shouldn't be much of a surprise, really, because the innovations are never very sweeping in terms of monetization. When a company's looking to make a buck, they normally just copy what other companies have already done very well. Companies don't want to gamble, is that a loot box joke, with their profit. Instead, this game tries to set itself apart with the movement system. They tried to make the character movement speed and abilities quick so that you can move to your own advantage. It's trying to blend movement shooters like Quake or Unreal Tournament, or more recently, Titanfall 2 and Battle Royale. The aesthetic and design of the game is fun. Even though the basic concept of the game is pretty lame, the game does look good, and I really like the pre-game zone, some of the more standout points on the map, and the way the graphics illustrate the world breaking down. However, the majority of everything looks exactly the same all throughout the map. Like, I can't stress this enough. Everything is exactly the same. It's just copy and pasted all throughout the map. And the main rooms that you end up going into are these multi-story houses where you find most of the loot. In fact, it's basically the only place that you get loot. However, when you're actually in these houses, imagine those horrible moments in Warzone when you're on the stairs and you're trying to figure out if somebody's down on the stairs below you and you're kind of having this weird, awkward standoff. That's every single house in this game. It gets really tiresome to see the same place constantly all throughout the map. They should have worked to make each piece of the map more unique. However, instead they focused on a few standout points and filled in the gaps with the boring shit. It's no fun, and it also makes understanding where you are on the map really hard. In addition to this, there's no traditional circle structure to the level closing like every other battle royale. Instead, the map just closes randomly in sections. When you can't keep track of where you are, this makes your current location seemingly irrelevant. Most other battle royales value placement on the map in a more meaningful way. This one instead values just moving quickly. It does do a good job of telling you where to go if your section is breaking down, but that doesn't make up for the fact that I never knew where I was on the map, or how many zones had closed, or anything like that. It also makes the decision of where you drop pointless, because you can drop anywhere in the map and pretty much have the same exact outcome no matter what. That's one of the fun parts of playing a battle royale, is you deciding where to go initially, but here it doesn't really matter. Oh well. The basic structure of this as a game design concept isn't bad, it's just different, and it takes a little bit of adjustment. Another difference between this game and every other battle royale is that it's really easy to see characters from far away. You can very quickly identify and move to attack an enemy. There's not much of a camping in the corner problem in this game because of this. It's clear that the game was designed to be fast based off the timer for the sections being closed, the crown system to end the game, and how easy it is to spot and get to people quickly. This means that the gameplay again differs from other battle royales because of how quickly you can see and move to combat an enemy. Although, that isn't always the best decision to make. Frankly, I like all of that. It makes the whole game feel fast. It doesn't take over half an hour to win a game of battle royale, or at least get to the final stage. You can just hop in, play for a little bit, and then hop out. The game will generally last maybe 20 minutes or so, which is quite a bit quicker than at least my average experience with other battle royales. If you pair this with a quick movement system, you have a game that feels very fast. This game also has a creative twist on the resurrection system. You can revive teammates who die, but the resurrect system requires the dead person to find the dead corpse of an enemy to be revived. This means that it can happen quickly. If you just got in a team fight with another team, there's probably a little death diamond that your teammate can go to be revived. Or it just means that you have to wander around waiting for your teammate to revive you. It also ends up pushing your team into areas where other people have died, which means that there are probably other people there as well who killed them. It's attempting to push you into combat, but that's not always the best decision to make in this game. I think this system is really creative. It's simple, it's easy to understand after the first time you go through it, and it allows the person who died to still run around and vaguely experience the gameplay, even if they're not allowed to shoot enemies. Another creative addition to the genre is the crown system. It's really cool, and it does promote violence at the end of the game. The basic summary of the crown system is this. When you get to the end game in the final zone, a crown spawns. If a player can hold on to that crown for 45 seconds, then they and their team win the game, even if other players are still alive. And I like that. You can't sit back and wait. You have to engage, essentially, either to kill the person with the crown or to get the crown yourself so that you can win. It can be really fun and adds a ton of chaos into the final zone as people scramble to the crown. In other battle royales, there's a tendency to wait until the very last circle before you actually jump into the combat, but you literally can't do that here because you need the crown. However, there is a problem. If you have the ball power up, you can cheese the ending just by running and using the ball. It makes you invulnerable for a short time and allows you to escape. It's a little lame that the most action-packed part of the round can turn into running and essentially hiding, but it provides alternative strategies to winning the game. I wish they had thought about how the power-ups are used during the end of a game a bit more, but I guess that doesn't mean that the system doesn't work. It just needs some fine-tuning. There are events throughout the match to add variety. These events could be giving the players extra jumps, health drops, drop kits, etc. Viewers on Twitch can vote for these events to happen, which adds to the sort of vague world building in the game, but it also pushes the game onto streamers in some way. I understand the impact that content creators can have on a game, since they can push an incredible number of people to buy or play certain games, but it also feels a little artificial when a game tries to cater so hard to so small a number of people. The number of people who actively stream games is like 0.0001% of the population who are going to play a game, so why should we care about these added features at all? I swear some games exist as just like streamer bait just to get Shroud to play it, or just to get Tim the Tap Man to play it, so that you can push a whole bunch of people to go out and buy that game, and then it just dies off immediately. And that's kind of what this feature feels like, is they just wanted to push streamers to play it for a short amount of time so they could make some money, but then all those people are going to leave, and it just feels dumb. I guess the whole event system does add some variety to the game. The map doesn't have any variety, so I guess the developers thought that they needed to find it somehow, so they added it in with the events. Nice. There aren't a ton of weapons to choose from, and the loot is available in abundance all over the map. So it's really easy to find whatever gun you want to in pretty much every single round that you play. They are also incredibly generic guns. Shotgun, grenade launcher, SMG, sniper rifle. It's really boring. Also, the minigun is just too good. That's the bottom line. For a game with only like 10 guns, one should not be head and shoulders above the rest. It has over 200 bullets if you get it fully upgraded, and it can just melt a person in seconds. It makes it feel pointless to choose any other gun when you can find the minigun all over the map, and it ends up winning most of the fights almost every single time. And just in general, the damage doesn't seem to make any sense to me. There's no armor upgrades or anything like that, but then I would routinely get melted by the most random guns, but then my guns would be like shooting a BB at an enemy. It makes no sense, and even with the damage numbers that pop up on the screen, it still makes no goddamn sense. Since there's no kill cam, I could never really understand how I was melted so quickly by an enemy. I just died. And then also on the flip side, the plasma rifle launcher just sucks ass. It's essentially pointless to pick up. Like, I'd rather just hit somebody with my stupid little starter baton. And that sucks because there's only 10 weapons. So one should not be head and shoulders above the other, while one is just straight in the dumpster below all the rest. Damage range drop off in this game just doesn't exist, so that means some guns have an advantage in certain situations. Like, you would do the same damage standing right next to somebody, or if they're incredibly far away. Again, this separates the guns into like 3 good guns, like the Ripper, the sniper rifle, and the Hexfire, which is the minigun. And then pretty much everything else is pretty bad in my opinion. Now, somebody could show up and say, no, you don't understand. The pistol's really, really good. Hey, more power to you. But in my mind, those 3 are just head and shoulders above the rest. The guns just leave a lot to be desired, both in creativity, like they're all just so generic, and actual usefulness, like which ones I actually want to pick up and use. However, the ability system is trying to make up for the lack of variety in the weapons. They essentially act as another method to change up each round that you drop into. Some of them are really fun and unique and will change how you play. This is where the strength of the game lies, and it plays into the movement system of the game really well, and it can be legitimately fun when you use those 2 things in combo. However, some are still definitely better than others, such as the previously mentioned ball that can allow you to cheese the ending of the game. I think the ball was supposed to draw more attention, kind of like getting in a car might be in Warzone, but I find people just end up stop paying attention to me when I go into ball mode. That kind of defeats the purpose, and it makes it really, really good. You become invincible and can just bounce around the map, like literally, really quickly. It's not really that much fun. When an enemy turns into a ball, I end up just going, fuck it, and try and find somebody else, because it isn't worth the time or the effort to try and follow them and then kill them. In fact, just in general, mini gunfights just become a complicated game of chase. This is because of the movement system and the abilities, but it kinda sucks. I'm not sure that qualifies as fun when you just end up chasing somebody through a whole bunch of buildings while they run away from you frantically, but I felt the same way about build-offs in Fortnite, and like 1 billion people love that, so I don't fucking know. The time to kill in this game is really high, and a lot of the time it just isn't worth it to actually engage in the chase because it would often lead to my own death. Better to just play the long game. Whenever I would try and pick a fight, it would rarely work out for me. When there's a viable way to win the game through another means, like the crown system, why would I even bother trying to kill anyone? If this is a game built around killing, then they kind of need to find a way to integrate it more into the gameplay then. Instead, you can sort of play this as a pacifist battle royale. It's actually not that bad of an idea, but I don't think that was the design philosophy behind the game. It sort of falls into an awkward in-between, where it was designed to be played in a certain way, and then how I actually want to play the game in order to find the most success. But in general, the whole game feels fast. There's a simple pickup method, an easy method to upgrade guns or abilities. It's all really easy to pick up and go, which is the end goal for a game that's built around speed. The only exception is the loading times. This is kind of a random criticism, but I'll include it. I wish that there was a revive method for solos. The game seems almost tailored for solos, except for that facet. Sometimes you just die in 2 seconds and have to wait for a new lobby, and that really takes away from the fun. Giving the players a second chance makes it seem more fun and gives the illusion of actually having a chance to win, even if the likelihood is still very low. Say what you will about Warzone, and I've said a lot. Bro, I got fucking stuck on the goddamn fucking physics of this busted ass game. I'm having a great time already. But the Gulag was a genius addition because it made you feel like you still had an opportunity that just presented itself for you to come back into the game. It was always giving you second or third or fourth chances. When you don't have those chances, it further pushes people away from actually wanting to fight. If I'm playing solos, and I know that if I die, I will have to sit through a whole bunch of loading screens again, I'm going to play as tentatively and safely as possible to avoid that death. Rather than pushing towards violence, It pushes me towards actually just running away frantically in a ball. It seems like a weird design choice, and I'm not sure that's how it was intended to be. Overall, I think this game is just kind of in a weird in-between. Apex Legends is all about teamwork. I mean, they even make you drop together, and they pioneered the ping system in Battle Royale. Fortnite is all about building. Warzone is all about shooting people in the head. So much so that one person can get 30 kills routinely if they're good. This game is sort of somewhere in between all those. It doesn't do anything super well, but it also doesn't do anything really poorly. The movement system was supposed to set this game apart, but it doesn't feel different enough to make me want to routinely play it into the future. It's just another addition into a saturated market. Maybe as the game updates, there'll be new pieces added that will truly set it apart, but right now I don't really see that happening. Additionally, I'm just not sure there's a ton of longevity in this game because I think this genre is pretty tired. All we need is like a Star Wars Battle Royale or some shit, and then we can all collectively move on to something else. This is not a bad game at all. It's really fun. I love the movement, I love the abilities, but there just isn't enough there right now to keep me coming back. Most of the time I left the game feeling frustrated. I mean, that's true of most Battle Royale games, so maybe that's just a me problem. Whenever there's a trend in gaming like this, everyone rushes into it, but unfortunately, most of the time those games are forgotten in the sands of time, left to rot underneath the soil next to the Lord of the Rings MOBA, the shitty World War II shooter, the garbage hero shooter, the tactical card game, and the 3D platformer that was trying to copy Mario. And that might happen to this game too. But it's worth trying. It's free. So, go do that, and see for yourself if you like it. Bye.